forward. The position built for dominance. The ones who control the paint, stretch the floor, and change the game. From the low block to the three-point line, power forwards have redefined what it means to be great. But when you look at all the legends who have owned this position, who truly stands above the rest? Because let me tell you, there are a lot of all-time greats in this one. Today, we're diving into the best of the best to ever play the four. Some names are obvious, others might just surprise you. So get your breakfast ready. I'm breaking down the top 10 power forwards in NBA history. Let's start off at number 10, LaMarcus Aldridge. Aldridge, just like a few others on the list, spent time at both the power forward and the center positions throughout his career. If Tim Duncan was Mr. Fundamental, LaMarcus was Mr. Fundamental Jr. The guy just showed up and went straight to business. No mess, no fuss. For his peak 9 seasons, he gave us 21 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists. Most of his time in the NBA was spent in Portland, but he did leave in the end to play with the Spurs and then with KD and Kyrie in Brooklyn with the hopes of getting a ring. Even though that did not materialize and he ended his career ringless, he was still a decorated veteran. He was selected to participate in the All-Star Game 7 times, and he made the All-NBA team 5 times throughout his career. Another guy who was basically a resident of the All-NBA list throughout his career is number 9, Dirk Nowitzki, the German wunderkind himself. Yes, I know a lot of you may have Dirk a lot higher on your list, but trust me, keep watching. Throughout his prime in the NBA, for his best 12 seasons, Dirk gave us 24 points, 9 boards, and 3 assists per game. He's wildly regarded as the pioneer of the stretch 4 position in the NBA because his career was basically built on three-point and mid-range jumpers. His length and, at the time, unusual shot selection as a big man made him very difficult to guard. His signature one-leg fadeaway is one of the most iconic and unguardable moves in basketball history, inspiring an entire generation of big men to expand their offensive skill set. Dirk was the NBA Finals MVP in 2011 against a stacked Heat team and the NBA's most valuable player in 2007. Throughout his illustrious career, he earned 14 All-Star selections, 12 All-NBA selections, and became a member of the 50-40-90 club in 2007. A pure hooper. So, who's directly ahead of Dirk? Well, the 8th best power forward in NBA history is Charles Barkley, the round mound of rebound. Standing at 6'6", Sir Charles didn't let his height get in the way of him being one of the best power forwards to ever play. This man was stronger than a lot of his opponents and used it to his advantage, becoming one of the better rebounders in the game. From grabbing boards over 7-footers to bullying defenders in the post or even leading fast breaks like a guard, Chuck could do it all. He won the rebounding award in 1987, and for his best 11 seasons in the game from 85 to 96, Chuck averaged 24, 12, and 4. These numbers won the big mound of rebound and MVP in 1993, 11 All-Star appearances, and 11 All-NBA selections. His impact on the game, along with his very fiery personality, cements him as one of the greatest power forwards of all time. Not to mention being the best sports personality on TV, winning 4 Emmys over the years. We love you, Chuck. The 7th best power forward the NBA has ever seen, Elvin Hayes. Elvin was a monster in the 80s and the 90s. This is both on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. The Big E is a 2-time member of the NBA All-Defensive Team. Elvin Hayes averaged 24 points per game, a whopping 14 rebounds, 2 assists, and get this, 2.5 blocks per game. I told you, monster. These stats earned Hayes 12 NBA All-Star selections and 5 All-NBA team appearances. The Big E won the NBA scoring championship in 1969 when he averaged 24 points per game. And guess what? That was his rookie season. What truly solidifies Elvin as one of the greatest power forwards was his durability and consistency. He played an astounding 1,303 games, missing just 9 games in his entire 16-year career. Tell that to Embiid. The Big E was also a key piece in leading the Washington Bullets to their first and only NBA championship in 1978, proving he could dominate on the biggest stage with his relentless rebounding and defensive prowess. Speaking of a power forward who brought intensity, the 6th best power forward in NBA history, Kevin Garnett, the big ticket himself, trash talker extraordinaire. KG in his prime 10 seasons stacked up an average of 22, 13, and 4. His most productive years came when he was in Minnesota because he was the centerpiece, unlike when he had to share the load with Ray Allen and Paul Pierce when he got to Boston. But don't get it twisted. With 1 MVP, 15 All-Star appearances, and 9 All-NBA selections, an NBA Defensive Player of the Year award, he earned himself that nickname. Not to be overlooked in any way, he also earned 12 All-NBA defensive selections and is a 4-time rebound champion. What truly sets KG apart was his unmatched intensity and passion for the game. He played every possession like it was Game 7 of the finals. He could guard multiple positions while being the centerpiece of stopping some of the best offenses the NBA has ever seen. Now let's take a trip back in time to recognize a legend who set the foundation for power forwards. The 5th best in NBA history, Bob Pettit. Listen, man, Bob was a monster for his entire career. He basically retired in his prime. During his playing time from 1954 to 1965, he averaged 26 points with 16 rebounds and 3 assists. People often disregard Pettit because of when he played, but you have to realize Pettit led an inferior Hawks team to a championship against a Boston team that won 11 championships over 13 seasons. He was also a 2-time MVP, 11-time All-Star for all 11 years of his career. Not to mention, he won the scoring title twice, the rebounding title once, and he is one of only 4 guys who has been a part of all 4 NBA anniversary teams. Moving up to today's timeline, the 4th best power forward in NBA history, none other than the Brow himself, Anthony Davis. AD's best 11 seasons in the NBA saw him producing 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists per game. AD is one of the premier paint protectors in the game today, making 5 All-NBA defensive teams and led the league in blocks for 3 seasons. His defensive traits are part of the reason why he was sought out by the Mavs in the recent Luka trade, which... yeah, anyway, AD is a 5-time All-NBA player and has 10 All-Star selections. But what truly has made AD special is his ability to control both ends of the floor. When fully healthy, which has sadly been an issue, Davis is arguably the most complete two-way big in the league, capable of anchoring a defense while also being a go-to scoring option. This next guy may not be the best shooter, but he's the best at a lot more. The freak from Greek, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Listen, the Greek freak is no joke. Giannis took some time to find his stride in the NBA, but after he broke out, he became a perennial All-NBA All-Star. He averaged 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists per game over his best 8 seasons. So far in his illustrious career, Giannis has won the Finals MVP once and the regular season MVP in back-to-back seasons and a Defensive Player of the Year award. Not to mention, he already has 9 All-Star appearances and 8 All-NBA selections under his belt. Giannis's length, strength, and athletic ability make him an impossible player to guard on single coverage. Greek is the only player other than Dirk to lead a non-super team in this era to an NBA championship. Just think, if he continues at this pace, Giannis has a real chance to climb even higher on the all-time power forward list when it's all said and done, but that's not going to be easy. Because now we're down to the top 2 greatest power forwards the game has ever seen. And I've got to say, this decision wasn't easy. These guys were both powerhouses and well accomplished in their times in the NBA. But before I tell you who they are, how about a couple honorable mentions? I gotta throw in and shout out Chris Bosh. CB was the ultimate team player, sacrificing personal stats and his career to become a key piece of the Miami Heat's Big Three. Also to mention is Kevin Love. He's got to be mentioned because in his prime, the dude was a rebounding machine and a lethal stretch big. So all that to say, who's earned himself the right to be the second greatest power forward in NBA history? That's the milkman himself, Karl Malone. Karl was an absolute Iron Man. And throughout his prime, which lasted around 16 seasons from 1986 to 2002, he averaged 26 points, 10.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per game. Malone's combination of size, strength, and skill made him nearly unstoppable in the post. And his mid-range jumper was automatic. In fact, he was called the Milkman as a joke because, just like a milkman, Karl consistently showed up every single time, delivering the calcium with his physical play. He gets overlooked for getting buckets, but ranks 3rd on the NBA's all-time scoring list, only behind LeBron and Kareem. Better than Kobe, better than Mike, Dirk, Wilt, Dr. J, the list goes on. And this man played the 7th most games in the history of the NBA. A freaking tank. Karl Malone is a 2-time MVP, a 14-time All-Star, and has 13 All-NBA team selections. And the mailman always delivered on defense too, winning 4 NBA All-Defensive Team awards over his career. He and his best running mate John Stockton didn't win any rings, thanks MJ, but they were and might still be the greatest pick-and-roll duo of all time. Just like the male, he delivered every single time. Which gives us the greatest power forward in the history of the NBA. None other than the big fundamental himself. That's right, Tim Duncan. I landed on Tim Duncan as my favorite for the #1 spot because for his prime, 10 seasons in the NBA, the man led the San Antonio Spurs to 5 NBA championships, proving that winning was always his top priority. He was the ultimate leader and set the tone for one of the most successful franchises in NBA history. Not flashy, sexy, or loud, but with his quiet yet commanding presence. Timmy D earned himself the nickname the Big Fundamental because he was all about business, none of the fancy stuff. He mastered the post footwork and torched opponents in the simplest way possible, with no trash talk, just buckets and more buckets. Tim Duncan won 3 Finals MVPs, 2 regular season MVPs, and averaged 22 points, 12 boards, and 3 assists. The man also has 15 All-Defensive Team selections to go along with his 15 All-Star honors and 15 All-NBA selections. Like I said, Duncan's dominance wasn't flashy, but it was undeniable on both ends of the floor. He would anchor his defense while also being one of the most reliable scorers in the post. I mean, come on. That bank shot off the glass became one of the most automatic moves in NBA history. A true testament to his technical precision. Beyond the numbers, Duncan's ability to elevate his teammates and adapt his game as he aged solidified his greatness. He wasn't just dominant in his prime, he reimagined a key contributor well into his late 30s, winning his final championship in 2014 against the LeBron James Miami Heat. Whether it was scoring, rebounding, passing, or defending, Tim Duncan simply did it all. Built a dynasty in San Antonio, and he did it better than anyone at his position. There you have it, the 10 greatest 4 men in NBA history. Let me know if you think my list is good and what changes you'd make in the comments. And man, come on, subscribe or your team's power forward will never make a top 10 list.